In 1964, Midget Farrelly took on and defeated the rest of the world to win the mantle of world champion surfer. Since that day 22 years ago, Australians have won the World Surfing Championship 10 times, earning them the right to be called the world's premier surfing nation. For 3 days in April, that title comes under threat when teams from all corners of the globe converge on Perth's Trigg Point. Seven Sport presents the inaugural World Surfing Super Series. Western Australia's southwest is known for some of the biggest and best surf in the world. In Perth, if you're a surfer, this is the break where you cut your teeth. Last weekend, Trigg Point played host to 40 of the world's best board riders in a unique teams competition. These are the men who made up the inaugural Swan Premium World Surfing Super Series.
Surfing for Australia 1, Tom Carroll, Mark Occhilupo, Barton Lynch, Gary Elkerton and Glenn Winton. Surfing for Australia 2, Mark Richards, Greg Day, Shane Horan, Wayne Bartholomew and Damien Hardman. Surfing for United States, Tom Curran, Mike Lambrisi, Mike Parsons, Dave Parmenter and Charlie Kahn. Surfing for Hawaii, Hans Hiederman, Cowie Hill, Derek Ho, Nui Budrow and Michael Lutronic. Surfing for Brazil, David Hassadel, Joao Jabor, Avelino Bastos and Louis Meneses. Surfing for Japan, Satoshi Sakino, Mistonatu Sakino, Hobomasa Imaso, Takasi Taniguchi. Surfing for New Zealand, Ian Buchanan, Mark Foley, Jamie Montgomery and Aaron Saunders. Surfing for England, Martin Potter, Sean Thompson, Derek Hine, Ted Deerhurst and Nigel Veach.
Team surfing has been tried before in different formats, mostly unsuccessful. So it was something of a coup to bring these guys to the world's most isolated capital for 3 days of competition. Here's what some of them had to say about surfing for their country.
I have competed as a team a couple of times in the past. They've had a few sort of hokey team events in Hawaii where they've thrown a few guys together, and it is a lot different because, especially when you're out there in a singles match, it's no different at all because you've got to concentrate on your own surfing and doing well and beating the other guy. But it's when you get into the doubles action that it really gets different because you're out there with the teammate, so you can't get in his way. You've got to sort of help him out as much as you can, and you've actually got two guys out there against you instead of one. So you've really got to come up with a good strategy with your teammate to outthink the other two competitors, and you've got to watch out for each other that you sort of separate and get as many waves as you can without getting in your teammate's way, kind of.
Well, it's not a new idea for me as through the media. I've never really considered myself as representing my country or California. It's always the media that pits those two against each other, Australia and California or America. So it's not really new to me, but at the same time, to be actually doing it out in the open, that'll be new, being a part of a team. And I'm looking forward to it.
It's a real good feeling. I like to come over here and represent Hawaii. There's not that many of us, but a good performance will show our talent.
The surfers were ready, the organisers were ready, and even the weather was doing it right. But how about you? Not everyone watching will have jumped on a surfboard. A cutback isn't necessarily a drop in your wages. Here's WA's highest ranked surfer, Mitch Thorson, to give you the lowdown.
All sports have their big moves. In Aussie rules footy, it's the high mark. In golf, the hole-in-one. Surfing is no different, except where most sports have one or two big moments, in surfing, we've got heaps. One of the most traditional and classic of all surfing moves is the cutback. The surfer gets as much speed as possible, races way out on the face, puts pressure on his back foot and cuts back towards the wave in a 180-degree turn, banks off the soup and then turns back in the original path he was taking. An another part of every competition surfer's repertoire is the re-entry. The surfer turns hard off the bottom of the wave, heads vertically straight up the face of the wave, hits the lip, snaps it back around, drops down the face and continues his ride. Try this move on for size. People call it amazing, we call it an aerial. Like the re-entry, the surfer comes hard off the bottom, heads straight up the face, but instead of hitting the lip, keeps on going up into the air, snaps it around in the air, then free falls back down to the face of the wave and continues on with his ride. One of the latest moves to hit the competition circuit is the floater. The surfer gains maximum speed, rises to the top of the wave, glides across the lip and then drops back into the wave. And by the way, if someone surfs with their left foot forward like say Mark Richards, they're a natural footer. Put your right foot forward like two-time world champion Tom Carroll and you're a goofy footer. Sorry about that, Tom. Back to moves, and let's leave you with the most exhilarating and exciting of all surfing moves, the high-scoring tube ride. This is where the surfer literally disappears behind the breaking part of the wave, and once you've been tubed, you're a surfer for life. So sit back and relax while the best surfers in the world do their stuff.
The first day of competition, a gentle offshore breeze, 1 to 1.5 metre waves, and national pride goes on the line, plus a small matter of $100,000.
Dawn at Trigg Point. All is in readiness for event 1 of the World Super Surfing Series. Australia 1 meets New Zealand. Former world champ Tom Carroll is captain of the Aussies. Ian Ratso Buchanan for the Kiwis. The coin toss over with, it's straight into action. Australia's Mr. X, Glenn Winton, just has too many guns for the young New Zealander Jamie Montgomery. First blood of the series to the Aussies. Mark Occhilupo finds devastating form and posts what is easily one of the most polished performances of the day. Ratso Buchanan makes a valiant effort, but Occhi really has found unbeatable touch. The first doubles match of the series. Buchanan is joined by Mark Foley in the water, but they're up against one of the most feared pairs, Barton Lynch and Tom Carroll. The Australians take the doubles in what was a pretty tight one. Lynch and Foley remain in the water for their singles heat. Great action from both surfers, some excellent rides from the amateur Foley, but another victory to Australia. Tom Carroll versus the Kiwi youngster Aaron Saunders. Again, a great effort from young Saunders, but experience wins out. A 5-0 win to Australia 1 and one very happy team captain.
Oh, it's great. It was fantastic competition this morning. It was very, very odd surfing in a doubles heat. It was the first doubles heat ever surfed, and it was a very odd feeling. I guess Barton Lynch and I had a very, very tight one in our first doubles heat against New Zealand, but we came out ahead and it was just a great feeling, yeah.
Day 1, Event 2, and Australia 2, the surfing team that is, hits the water. Shane Horan, riding his snub-nosed winged fin surfboard, is looking good up against Brazil's Johnny Jabeur. Horan takes the heat and teammate Greg Day takes to the surf. His opponent, Brazilian Avelino Bastos. Day wins easily, and into the water go two of the greatest names in Australian surfing, Mark Richards and Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew. Rabbit and MR are known as two of the greatest tactical exponents in the game. Brazil's Johnny Jabeur and Louis Menezes simply have no answer. The Australians are working as a team in the water and on the beach.
In one of the doubles heats, Damien Hardman ran down and sort of gave us a few instructions. And normally when you go to a contest anywhere in the world, an individual contest, you're sort of on your own. And it's really interesting in this one, like we've got Wayne Bartholomew, Greg Day, Shane Horan, Damien Hardman and myself, and we're sort of all sitting on the beach together, you know, getting on well and working out strategy and sort of supporting each other and watching each other. So it's great.
Bartholomew stays in the water and maintains his strong showing against Brazil's David Husadel in the singles. Finally, it's the four-time world champion Richards in the singles, completely outclassing Louis Menezes. Powerful stuff from MR and his team, and they're looking better than ever.
Well, I think we're looking really good. We every heat we competed in today, we won. It was a 5-0 decision to the team. We've got a very hard semi-final. We're up against Australia 1. And I think if we can reproduce the form that we showed today and maybe improve on it, we've got a really good chance of knocking off Australia 1 and making it through to the final.
Day 1, Event 3. Hawaiian skipper Hans Hedemann decides to take on the United Kingdom's Sean Thompson in the first singles heat. A magical 360-degree manoeuvre from Hedemann is just not enough to give him a win. The UK go one up. Surfer and writer Derek Hind is pitted against the youthful Cowie Hill, who's looking a winner early in the heat. Hind pulls off some eye-catching work and is rewarded with a victory from the judges. The United Kingdom are in with a big chance to knock off Hawaii.
I knew the only way we had to beat him was to go out there with a really good attitude, give it our best, and whatever happened, happened, and we did pretty well. I'm really happy with our team so far, and I think we can go a little bit further than I think we can.
The doubles, and Potter is looking happier than ever. He and Sean Thompson have the Hawaiian combination of Derek Ho and Hedemann on the run. They take it out, and the morale in the UK camp hits a new high.
I think one of the keys to success in teams is a team spirit, and that's one thing the Pommies have got, a lot of team spirit, and I think that's going to go a long way.
Potter takes on young hotshot Ho in the singles. The Hawaiians go down again. It's left up to Mike Latranic to pull off their first win. He's up against Nigel Veach from Newcastle in England. Success at last for the Hawaiians, but no real consolation. The UK takes the match 4-1, and Potter is predicting big things.
I think they're surfing exceptionally well. I've got no complaints with any of them, and if they just keep doing what they're doing, I'll be the happiest guy in the world.
Day 1. By event 4, the 10-knot southwest sea breeze has messed up the previously clean waves. For the USA and skipper Tom Curran, something of a disappointment.
As you saw early this morning, there were great waves, and there was great potential to get a long tube ride and other maneuvers like that. And now it makes it very hard to be able to go out and to perform at the highest level. So, but we realize that, and our opponents have the same disadvantage. So we're just going to try to get over that and do the best we can.
The conditions actually suit the Japanese, but Mike Lambrisi has other thoughts. To the USA, and another coming up as Charlie Kuhn surfs against Mitsunobu Sakino. Lambrisi and Kun team up for the doubles. Takashi Taniguchi joins Sekino for Japan. Takashi is matched against Dave Parmenter in the singles, and the good-natured American sets about notching their 4th victory. Finally, it's the new world champion Tom Curran in the water. Japan pits their best surfer, Satoshi Sekino, against him. The ever-improving Satoshi is certainly a trier, even if not a winner. A 5-0 win and a great start for the Americans. Day 1, Event 5, the Brazilians and the Kiwis. The South Americans start well. David Husadell takes out young Aaron Saunders, but Jamie Montgomery strikes back for New Zealand with a win over Johnny Jabeur. In the doubles, the New Zealanders continue their success. Ratso Buchanan stays in the water, cleans up Louis Menezes and takes the match. In the end, a 3-2 victory to the Kiwis.
So at the end of day 1, victories go to a confident Australia 1, 5-0 over New Zealand. Australia 2 also whitewashed Brazil 5-0. The United Kingdom defeated a disappointing Hawaii 4-1. The USA hit top form, winning 5-0 over Japan. And in the final heat, New Zealand defeated Brazil 3-2. Pro surfing these days is a multi-million-dollar business. The tour lasts nearly all year round, with competitors taking in the US, Australia, Europe, Japan and South Africa. Little separates the top 30 ranked surfers in the world, but all made it to the big time via different paths.
I've wanted to become a professional surfer since I was about 14 years old. I sort of looked upon the people who were starring at that stage, people like Wayne Lynch and Michael Peterson, and all I wanted to do was win surfing competitions. I wanted to get to their standard, and ever since I was about 14 or 15, it's been a conscious effort to try and get there.
The fact that I love surfing so much, I want to go surfing every day of my life if I can, and get in the water I just spend as much time in the water, and the people who get to do the most surfing are the guys who are making a living at it.
Well, I'd won the Queensland Open men's title 3 times. And that was against some of the best surfers in Australia at that time, Michael Peterson, Peter Townend, Peter Druin, and the Nielsen brothers. And, you know, there was no such thing as professional surfing, but I liked the idea of travelling to contests overseas, and if I did well, I could afford to carry on to the next one. And it wasn't really a circuit. It was just a couple of countries, Hawaii and California and Australia was the only thing involved. And I just, you know, I was one of the first professional surfers, and I grew with the sport.
Day 2, and while the swell may have dropped off just a little, the action hasn't. Hawaii takes on Japan in event 6. Noah Budrow makes his debut for the series and beats Takashi Taniguchi. Skipper Hans Hedemann is next up for Hawaii, taking on Nobumasa Imasu. Like every other pro here, Hedemann is enjoying the series and the tactics that go with it.
I think the series is a great event. It offers a different format and a strategy, and caught me a little bit off guard as being the team captain from Hawaii, yesterday's strategy, but now that I've got a little bit accustomed to it, I think it's a great event, has a lot of potential.
It's Derek Ho's turn to show his potential as he joins his captain for the doubles. Japan's Sekino brothers go down to the Hawaiians. Satoshi Sekino stays on with Ho for their singles. Finally, Mike Latranic outpoints Mitsunobu Sakino to give the Islanders a clean sweep.
That particular match, we didn't really, take it all that too seriously, but we wanted to, we wanted to win it definitely, but we had a lot of fun out there.
Day 2, Event 7, the one the whole beach has been waiting for. The showdown between the Australians.
That event, because it definitely narrows their chances.
Australia 2, first priority.
And then on to the selection of surfers for the various heats. A tough task, and one that proves the tactics begin a long time before they hit the water. For Australia 2, young Damien Hardman will surf twice.
Well, we rested him yesterday. We were keeping him in mind against Australia 1 because there's a series of goofies in that team, 3 goofies and a natural. We wanted to have a goofy when we went against them, so we rested him yesterday, keeping him for the workload today.
The bold move looks like paying off. In the first real sensation of the series, 17th ranked Hardman outsurfs the number 2 rider in the world, Barton Lynch. Heat 2 and Tom Carroll is matched with Shane Horan, who opens up with some impressive manoeuvres. Carroll fights back in the manner that you would expect from him, but Horan steals the heat with one absolutely beautiful tube ride. The Australia 2 camp is happier than ever. One more win and they're into the grand final. Mark Richards teams up with Hardman, some 10 years his junior, for the doubles. For Australia 1, it's Gary Kong Elkerton and Mark Okalupo. In the increasingly tricky conditions, Australia 1 stays in the race for the grand final with a big win. The 2 Queenslanders have never been further apart. Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew for Oz 2, Gary Kong Elkerton for Oz 1. Kong the Ape beats Wayne the Rabbit and the match is all tied up. The pressure pours on. The winner of the last heat takes his team into the grand final. Mark 1 and Mark 2. Okalupo for Australia 1 and Richards for Australia 2. A tight struggle, but gradually the old man of the sea with no fewer than 4 world titles grabs the upper hand. That's the way the judges see it. (3-2) to Australia 2 in a dead-set cliffhanger. Congratulations from rival skipper Tom Carroll and absolute jubilation from the Australia 2 men. Wayne Bartholomew thinks the world title is safe on Aussie soil.
I do. I think we are. I think we're really approaching it like a team where our tactics are tight, our guys are performing well, and I really think that we can take this World Super Series.
Day 2, Event 8. The fight for the right to meet Australia 2 in the final. The UK versus the USA. 2 of the most intense competitors on the circuit, Martin Potter and Dave Parmenter, are up first. The American is found wanting slightly and Potter blasts to yet another win. The next heat sees a classic contest. World champion Tom Curran and Sean Thompson. It's tighter than expected, but Curran pulls the right moves out of the bag at the right time, and the event is all tied up at 1-1. the team heat and is joined by Mike Parsons. Thompson stays 2 and Potter gets straight back out there. The United Kingdom work it quite nicely, but not nicely enough to snatch the heat from the USA. 2-1, the Americans lead. Derek Hind takes on Mike Parsons. Parsons opens extremely well and in an excellent display of stamina holds off a strong late run from Hind. 3-1 and it's to be a USA-Australia 2 grand final. The fifth heat is incidental. Ted Deerhurst is outgunned by Mike Lambrisi and team captain Curran has the scent of a world title.
Well, before this event started, I wasn't really sure how we would do, and as we're progressing along in the event and we're in the finals, you know, I'm very confident in our team and that we can surf very good.
Day 2, event 9, and Japan and Brazil battle it out to remain in the tournament. The Japanese are eager to post their first win for the series. Mitsunobu Sakino pulls it off over Johnny Jabeur. Nobumasa Rimasu follows that one with another. This time the loser is Louis Menezes. But in the doubles, the Brazilians' experience begins to show. 2-1, Japan leads, but not for long. Brazilian captain David Husadel ties it up by outriding Takashi Taniguchi. 2-2 into the last heat. Japanese captain Satoshi Sakino accounts for Brazil's Avelino Bastos. Japan into the battle against Hawaii for 5th and 6th place.
In another great day of surfing, we saw the Hawaiians find form to record a 5-0 victory over Japan. In the Battle of Oz, Australia 2 downed the much vaunted Australia 1 3-2. The USA surfed into the final, winning 4-1 against the UK, while Japan recorded their first victory for the contest, 3-2 over Brazil. Glenn Winton from Australia 1 and Derek Hind from the United Kingdom out in the water at the moment in this surf-off for 3rd and 4th in the World Super Surfing Series at Trigg Beach. Glenn's taken off on a nice left-hander.
He certainly is. That's a beautiful wave, as you can see. He's really working that over, and I think there's one of those nice little tube rides that he's famous for. Really gets a few extra points, and one thing that Glenn is really good at is maximizing his maneuvers.
Talking of Glenn Winton, let's have a look at some of his statistics. He's aged 25, of course, hails from Australia, from Narrabeen in Sydney. He's a goofy footer, ranked number 5 in the world at the moment. And Matt, his performances over the past couple of years, very impressive.
Certainly have. He came from the Central Coast area of Australia. He came out of nowhere. His nickname is Mr. X because he's always the unknown quantity. No one's quite sure just when he's going to fire, but when he does, the results do come in. Up and riding now, this is Derek Hind. He's doing that forward, you gave a name to that yesterday, Peter, didn't you?
That was a laid-back tube ride forehand.
Now Glenn's up and surfing on a left-hander.
And that's quite a nice left-hander. Nice wall, nice clean, even wall, horizontal. Glenn is trying to pull his board back in and keep it level. Getting it going, but not quite as expected. This is a nice ride by Derek Hind, pushing underneath the curl, but waiting, getting a nice flyaway re-entry there. Not a lot you can do here on these waves. The green stands up for as long as possible, and you've got to stay with the green. The only time you can do maneuvers is with green water. Mostly in white water, there's not much you can do.
That's the end of Heat 1 in the man-on-man.
If you look up on the computer board, you can see the results. It's a clear decision for Glenn Winton.
And down on the beach, Tim is talking with the two combatants.
Congratulations, Glenn Winton. Were you happy with that performance?
Not really with my performance, but the object was to win, and so I was pleased with that.
Why weren't you happy with your performance?
Well, during that heat, not many good waves came through, and I just sort of couldn't finish my waves off because it got a little small at the end.
Okay, thanks Glenn. Derek, the waves just weren't quite there for you today. How do you see the conditions today compared with the other 2 days?
Well, any contest is dependent on, you know, how good the surfers can surf on the day. Out there I got priority a couple of times, but the waves just didn't come. I was forced into a few smaller ones, and at the end I had a chance to come back a little with the wave that Glenn left me, but the wave just wasn't big enough.
Friends out of the water, foes in it. And at the moment in the water, we have 2 of the hottest surfers in this competition. Shaun Tomson up and surfing, and he's surfing against Kong, Gary Elkerton from Australia.
I'd have to say, Simon, that Shaun Tomson, calling him one of the best surfers in the world is quite an understatement. This man has been a fine representative of the sport of surfing and one of the greatest champions surfing has ever had. And he's going up against a young upstart. Peter, what can you tell us about Gary Elkerton?
Well, Gary hails from my home state of Queensland. And in Queensland we have a fairly definite style of surfing, and that is power surfing all the way but controlled, and creatively and imaginatively thinking about what we're doing.
That's Kong. Let's have a look at some of Shaun Tomson's statistics. Shaun now lives in Los Angeles these days. He's age 30. He, of course, is surfing in this championship for the United Kingdom. He's a natural footer and is ranked number 12 in the world at the moment. And his statistics, Matt, very impressive.
Unbelievable, actually. World champion 1977, first in the Stubbies Pro, first in the Renault Pro, first in the OP. There isn't enough room on this screen, really, to display just the accolades that we could just absolutely pour on Shaun Tomson.
Outside, we've got Kong going right across, a nice screaming left-hander, getting plenty of speed, but it bangs in as he hit the wedge there.
So Kong, let's have a look at some of his statistics. These days, he's living in Queensland. He's aged just 21, 9 years the junior of Shaun Tomson. He also is a natural footer, ranked number 11 in the world at the moment. And his performances over the past year: first in the record bar in the USA, third in the Renault in South Africa last year, and fifth in the Fosters. And let's have a look at Shaun's last wave.
And Shaun taking off, full steam ahead, pulls that right leg in and really perching around, using that right leg to steer the board all the way, trying to put on manoeuvres with his back foot accelerating and using it for pivotal turning. But unfortunately the wave is just not giving him those manoeuvres.
In motion, Shaun Tomson at the moment on the outside. Looks like he's going to be going right, Peter.
And a nice wave for Shaun. Shaun pivots along, sets up a wave and a nice big re-entry, keeping his head well over the front of his board, but just misses out there. He has a fair way to go to the beach, but didn't quite make it. And there's Gary Elkerton, cuts up into a big re-entry, pushes his board in further, tries to keep going. Both these guys have got plenty of weight, and unfortunately they're bogging down on these smaller waves of Triggs, but similar waves, and the heat has actually ended, and we'll wait in anticipation of a result, possibly going to Gary Elkerton.
With the preliminaries decided, the expected showdown between the US and Australia is the sole talking point on the beach. What would the surfers do to win? An Aussie surfing legend, Rabbit Bartholomew.
I'm not going to be out there trying to promote any, physical contact, but there's a lot at stake. I'll be surfing for my country, and I'm not going to let anyone else get in my road.
Trigg Beach in Western Australia, Mark Richards and Mike Parsons are coming in at the moment, and that looks like a victory to the Australians, which makes it 1-1 in this final series. And it's tight, it's tough, coming down to the wire.
And look at this Hunter Jocelyn. It's Shane Horan going right, Damien Harbin going left. Shane snaps it off the top. Damien hits the lip hard. Shane's got a good wall ahead of him. He's going to get a good length of ride on this wave. He's going miles down the beach. Great length of ride there. And he kicks off. Damien finished his ride too. That was a good exchange there, Hunter, for the Australians.
Well, I think it's a strong way for them to open up the heat for sure. And we'll see what happens, as right now nobody has priority. We've had somebody from each team catch a wave, so the situation now is, I think Charlie Kuhn is headed out for
Here
the
comes Tom Curran.
Tom Curran, the strength of the American team, and all he does is take off and flick out the back. So a weak start, I believe, for the Americans, and we need to get in there and start charging against a strong Australia 2 team.
Split, we have got it.
It looks like the Americans are getting the chance to do the classic split. Charlie Kuhn up high out of the top on his backhand, and Tom Curran just whacking it to the kind of form and style that we expect from Tom Curran. Charlie Kuhn not getting very much of a left out of that, but Tom Curran definitely working that right-hander over to his best abilities.
Tom Curran applying the pressure. Shane looking at it, he's taking off. Nice little right-hander, good wall. Big float up from Shane. Up there again, that's 2, 3. Still going, Shane Horan. Nice little 4 little floaters. Staying with it and kicks out.
Some more good point scoring from the Aussies, I'd say, at that stage. As Tom waits for another wave. He's only 21 years of age, surfing in this championship for U.S.A. mainland. He lives at Carpentaria in the U.S.A. and his current world ranking, of course, #1. He's a natural footer, and his performances certainly speak for themselves over the past couple of years. First in the 1985 Fosters, first in the Stubbies the same year, and first in this year's Stubbies, and the current world champion, as we've said.
And Charlie Kuhn, they're going this one. The Americans have made a motion to catch that. Tommy Curran going right, Charlie Kuhn going left.
All right, and it's the same situation we had before.
Big re-entry.
Charlie ending up on a bit of a closed out left, and Tom Curran getting the right-hander. It still had a little bit of open face. He bails out. Now Charlie's got a rebuild on the inside, so he'll get good length ride out of this. And we'll see how that strengthens the position. Tom Curran taking off on his backhand. Stays high, comes off the bottom, whacks it, and comes unglued. Very uncharacteristic for Tom Curran.
The American team with priority. They're letting Horan have this wave. Shane's up and riding. Shane Horan snaps it once off the top. Twice. Walling up ahead of him. Another bank, another re-entry. Getting a lot of speed. There's a big floater, and there it is again, another floater. Got a good saddle on that wave, a good connection. He's in the energy part of the wave. He's staying with it all the way to the sand and jumps off. Damien Hardman. Hassling, it's a hassle on here. Charlie Kuhn and Damien Hardman. What's going to happen there? That was a right-hand wave. Charlie Kuhn elected to hassle Damien Hardman then.
Okay.
That was an interesting situation where Damien Hardman sprinted onto the inside of Charlie Kuhn. Kuhn decided not to give in and try and get the interference on Damien Hardman, but I think that one's going to be debatable.
Mitch, to find out more about that situation, let's go down to Tim Water and see what's going on.
Shane Horan, great comeback there. Australians looked a little dodgy early, but certainly powered home.
Yeah, I think we worked together well, Damien and I. That was a good heat. I knew it would go either way. It was that interference that ended up definitely making it for Australia, but I feel that we surfed well enough anyway to clinch the doubles. So now it depends on the outcome of these last 2 singles.
Shane has hit the mark. It's Australia 2-1 after the doubles, but in Heat 4 the experience of Charlie Kuhn overcomes a rattled Damien Hardman. 2-all, and it's down to the final heat to decide the series.
We have excitement building on the beach, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't been caught up in it yet, you will be now. It's all down to the wire. This is it, the final heat of today. Who's going to take it? Will it be the USA? Will it be Australia 2? 2 dynamic surfers in the water. Greg Day and current world champion Tom Curran. Can G'day do it? Can Tom Curran do it? We will see. Time will tell. 25-minute heat. Best 4 waves out of 10.
Well, the man who's carrying Australia's weight in this final heat is Greg Day. Here are some of the statistics on him. He's age 27, lives in Sydney at the moment. His ranking in the world is number 18. He's a natural footer, surfing, of course, for the Australia 2 team. And his top performance is first in the 1984 Spurs Sake Ranch and third in the 1984 Stubbies Pro.
Tom Curran, he's going to charge it from the back door. Made it around 2 sections, floats it up over that one with the re-entry, turns up and loses his footing there. A little bit of a break in his form as he makes his way inside.
One man who chose not to surf today is Martin Lynch, and he's down on the beach now with Tim.
Thanks very much, Simon. Barton, you claim that usually you're not a patriot, but you've been getting right into it down here for the last few minutes.
Yeah, I'm right into this. I'd love to see Greg get up and knock Tom off. I'd love to see Australia win the event. And although Tom's world champion, I think, you know, it is quite possible.
So that was going to be my next question, actually. Has G'day got what it takes to knock him off?
Oh, he's definitely got what it takes. You know, he's a great surfer. He's a good guy. You know, they say you can't keep a good guy down, so hopefully Greg will get up and take it off for Australia.
From what you've seen of the heat so far, who do you think might hold the advantage?
Well, we heard those first scores come through, and Tom Curran had a slight advantage. He just got a second wave then. There was quite a decent wave, but Greg seems to be paddling out there at the moment. He's got quite a good-looking wave in front of him. So my thoughts are with Greg, and I hope he can pull it off.
Okay, thanks very much, Barton. It's with you now, Simon.
Thanks, Tim. So does the rest of Australia.
Tom Curran, he's going to charge it from the back door. Made it around 2 sections, floats it up over that one with the re-entry, turns up and loses his footing there. A little bit of a break in his form as he makes his way inside.
Let's have a look at Greg Day's last wave. It was quite a good scoring wave, a floater re-entry, good down the line, another floater re-entry, and yet he stalls out and isn't able to continue the ride.
Okay, Tim has the Australia 2 captain, MR, down on the beach.
Thanks, Simon. Mark, how do you see this heat going?
Well, I think the heat's very close at the moment. I think Greg Day is getting a bit of a hard time from the announcers up there. The announcers seem to be very pro Tom Curran in this heat, so it'd be nice to see them even it up a little bit.
Okay, on that note, it's back up to you guys up there.
That puts the pressure back on us, I think, Hunter.
Okay, after that slap in the face, we'll reassess our situation here possibly. And look, Greg Day performing nicely on that wave. As we look out in the water, Tom Curran with another wave, trying to build up his wave count. Gets a couple nice maneuvers there, but once again, probably not one of the strongest waves of the heat.
And it just looks terrible out there. The conditions just look shocking. And as we see Greg Day paddling for a wave, it looks like quite a good wall in front of him. Standing up, going off the whitewater, nice floater maneuver. Can he get back onto the green face? It's on the green face where you're scoring points, and he's keeping the board moving in the whitewater.
And right behind him, Ian, Tom Curran goes for a floater off the lip, comes down into a small 2, and then the wave basically peters out, and Tom Curran struggling to get back outside extremely quickly. Greg Day doing the same thing, and there's a possibility Greg Day equaled or raised that one score that could be dropped, and with only half a point dividing the two surfers, we could have had a placement change with that wave.
Curran with priority is now in a commanding position.
Okay, well, we have 52 seconds unofficially as we watch Tom Curran using up his priority, and he's going for broke on this wave, getting a lot of speed down the line, floats it off the whitewater, cuts back, now he's going on his backhand, prones out, trying to catch the wave all the way into the beach, and that'll be his last wave, Ian. 35 seconds unofficially. Greg Day out there. This could be the icing on the cake. We don't have any idea what the standings are right at this point in time as Greg Day is up and riding.
He's got a wave with face. He's doing maneuvers, a cutback maneuver, a big slashback maneuver right there on the inside, and the wave comes right over him, and he loses out on that wave there.
Okay, we're counting down from just getting into the 10-second range and looking across the scores. Greg Day's very consistent in the 6-point range, and that's the end of the heat.
What an incredible finish to the championship. And a nice gesture there from the two surfers in the water, shaking hands. It sums up the camaraderie that's persisted right throughout this tournament. And now for the results to the final heat and the final day's competition of the World Surfing Super Series. Here's Mike Westlink.
Well, I've got the figures in front of me. In the last heat, winning 5-0 was the United States of America. All right. That, of course, makes the winner of the Swan Premium World Surfing Super Series the USA. Congratulations to Tom Curran and his team for a job very well done.